Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Heal the Ring podcast here on the Sports Jedi Network with your host, the Don of the Waterloo BS Sports Jedi, Kev. Let's get right into it. Let's go. Salute to everyone that's watching us on all the different platforms. Rumba, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Everyone that's watching us, salute to you. We're going to say good afternoon to Jordan Kirby. What's going on? Krista Flash, salute to you. We were on our playback. Now we're doing this here on our YouTube platform. We have little news here. I'm not going to be like a Sean the fake entertainer with breaking news. But I just found out breaking news, but real breaking news, that the wrestler known as Reggie, a.k.a. Scripps from the NXT brand, part of the Facet, the Out the Mud, his contract is out in June, and WWE will not renew his contract. They will let him go. They will allow him to work up to his ending date of his contract, and they will not get renewed. He's not getting released, but they're not going to renew him and bring him back. So Out of the Mud, look for him either to be written out, or maybe Jada Parker removes him from the group and they start winning. Interesting to see where they go forward with that. But let me first salute to you here, Jordan Kirby. What's up? Give me what I want. Yes, you're going to get what you want. And, of course, we got Krista Flash joining us, and many of us that are watching us all around the different platforms. Now, I wanted to talk about this video today, and I mentioned, if you watch the playback, it's a little bit redundant, or I'm going to add a little, we had the breaking news while in between finishing up the playback TV there. It's about the NXT takeover. NXT UK takeover. We saw the both draft nights for Monday Night Raw, and then we saw night one on Friday Night SmackDown, where we saw a lot of wrestlers being drafted, and a lot of folks on the either IWC, I know Busted Open were ragging on it. I wish they had that same energy when they review AEW's Dynamite, because those are disgusting. Those are terrible shows, and they sit there with their tongue so far up the AEW's ass, licking it instead of saying the show is terrible. And shitting on the WWE's Raw. Yes, he said it felt like a Vince McMahon production from 5 years ago. Boring, yada, yada. I mean, come on, LaGreca. You got what you want. You changed the whole WWE card. You got your boy Cody over to get the title, and you're still shitting on the product? Go get out. Don't cover WWE then. You want to go 24/7? I mean, come on, dude. Come on, man. You should have that same energy. How terrible. Yeah, I know. Yes, you called AEW a shit sandwich a couple weeks ago. Then you walked it back. Mr. Oh, I agree. Mr. Agreeable. I mean, enough about him. Let's talk about what we talked about here about the NXT UK takeover. This is I was looking at this, and I'm hearing all the negativity, and that's what it spunked me. And I'm looking at this, and I go, wait a minute. Paul Levesque, when he launched NXT UK over 6 years ago, and his vision was to find those independent talent in the Europe, UK market, Ireland, England, Scotland, and put the NXT UK, bring them to get the WWE way. And boy, if you look at the faces of Raw, on the background, starting with the most polarizing women's champion in this modern decade here in Rhea Ripley. I mean, she's a heel, and we cheer her like a baby face, and she is super over. Out of the NXT UK brand, NXT UK went up the rankings. NXT, now look where she's at with the WWE. You could say one of the top 3 stars, not male, female stars in WWE right now. Main event her own pay-per-view in her own home country. I mean, what can you say about the development of Rhea Ripley and the NXT UK system? James, what's up, James? Yes, we cannot wait for NXT UK to come back. I mean, and I'm going to say first thing myself, I regret, and I'm going to say it here publicly, and I've said it before on different streams, I regret publicly not following the NXT UK brand to a full follow. I really regret that. I that's the biggest mistake if I have, is that not following the NXT brand, UK brand, because when the wrestlers that came out of it, I mean, my goodness, and they're right now they're big time players in the WWE. Look at Finn Balor. early part of NXT UK and Black and Gold, and now look at Finn Balor. I mean, first inaugural Universal Champion. That confidence that Triple H did and had in him, the vision he's seen in him. Tyler Bates, look at, I believe he was the first carrying world champion for NXT UK brand. His reign down in NXT. Jordan Devlin, which we are known as JD McDonough, had a phenomenal run in NXT UK. Lyra Valkyria, who got drafted, and let's talk about all those draftees from Lyra Valkyria, Pete Dunne, Pretty Deadly, Isla Dawn, Ibra Fire, who was the Kelly Ray back then in her time, Imperium, from the longest reigning intercontinental champion, and a man that always been pinned on the WWE brand for only four particular wrestlers have the privilege to say they either pinned or submitted the ring general Gunther. Only four. I believe it's Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, Sami Zayn, and one more that I'm not remembering right now. Four wrestlers. I believe if it's not Pete Dunne or Tyler Bates is one of those that pinned Ilya Gunther. Now Ilya Dragunov had a successful run, in my opinion, in NXT. Although to me, not my cup of coffee of a wrestler. That's another story for the day. But I cannot take away from his accolades and his accomplishment in NXT. And going to the main roster, and James is gonna, and I know Jordan Kirby, he's gonna get what he wants. Just think about it, and I tell everyone, and I'm gonna acknowledge you, Eli Washington. I see you there, Eli. I'm gonna acknowledge you in a minute. Absolutely, you're definitely gonna get your comment there. We make sure we acknowledge everyone that joins us on the chat, and I love the fact that this could headline up any premium live event. And it could even headline one of the main four, like when I mean main four, Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, even the WrestleMania Night 1, Gunther versus Dragunov. They were the MVP on the COVID for NXT UK. You looked at match, and I mentioned it earlier on my other platform, on the playback TV. If you the video description is in the video, follow us in the playback TV. Due to the fact that in YouTube doesn't allow us to do certain things, we're going to be going to the playback TV, and we're going to be showing that video, that full match in its entirety, and we're going to comment on it. And we'd love you to join us. So follow us, hit that notification. I'll make sure everyone knows when I'm going to do that, so we can see the Dragunov versus Gunther, aka Walter, match in its entirety without no copyrights, no issues. We'll get to see that there. Now. And let's go right back to Eli Washington. Sup, BX. We're bringing back NXT UK. Now, they were talking about NXT Europe. They were going to get rid of the UK and call it NXT Europe. Listen, and in that part of the world, there is a great independent scene when it comes to Europe, UK, Ireland. There is a need for an NXT brand. It showed. Couple years later, where we got 5, let's say NXT now what 8? NXT UK has been gone for 18 months. Remember Worlds Collide? I was at the Worlds Collide. Myself, Terrence, we were at Worlds Collide when Braun Breaker unified both titles. He beat Tyler Bates. Where again, when we saw, that's my first time seeing Blair Davenport wrestle in that triple threat match along with Mika Saramoto and Mandy Rose for the unification of the women's title. What a bang of a match. I saw Davenport, she took the pin, but she was the heel in that match. And the way she conducted herself, I said, she's got something. There is something in Blair Davenport that I would like them to expose. And they never did it in NXT as a women's champion. She would have been a great heel women's champion. But I understand what they did in NXT with the world title, with Roxy. And it brings us to Lyra Valkyria getting called up. And, of course, Charlie has Lyra's in the storyline with Judgment Day. They have history. Chelsea Green is on SmackDown, which is also interesting. Lyra Valkyria, we saw that she got a pep talk from Rhea Ripley. I know she's great friends with a mentor. Her mentor is the women's champion right now, Becky Lynch. Could we see in a storyline later down the road where she betrays Becky Lynch and helps Rhea Ripley win her title. Although Rhea doesn't need that. Rhea doesn't need that. But how do you get a person who just came onto the scene to get over or get heat by that, interjecting her in that kind of a storyline on there? Yeah, what's crazy, we don't have the likes of Charlotte, Alexa yet. Blair Davenport is going to be amazing. Same as Lyra. Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Charlie. When there's injuries, there's an opportunity for other women to step up. When now the pecking order, now you have to step up, make your name be put out there. So when these big time heavy hitters return, wait a minute, you're doing good work. You're carrying, and you're intriguing. You're exciting. You're captivating. How are we going to put you in the back burner to put these ladies who are out of sight, out of mind? That's why the wrestling business is a little bit funky or scared. That's why you see wrestlers say that they say they have a broken foot, but they don't let it heal the proper 8 weeks because they want to get back because they're afraid someone taking their spot in the card. When and even the top stars, if you're out too long, here comes the next top star. I guarantee most of us already forgotten about John Cena. I mean, he's one of the best top main draw. I know he's older, he's doing Hollywood, he's doing other stuff, but he's out of sight, out of mind. Another person transitions in and takes his spot, that's what the business of wrestling is about. Dijak joins the Final Testament. Ooh, you know what, Jamerson? I didn't think about that. Right now, Dijak, right now, I'm gonna ask. I wasn't a big fan of Dijak. From when I became a fan of Dijak, when I went in October for the Super NXT when they had Cena and LA Knight and I started seeing Dijak's work. I started turning him more into a fan and seeing him getting over. Dijak right now is over like that tweener. He could be a heel. He could be a menace on Twitter X, but he's gonna get the cheer in the crowd. He's kind of. I'm not saying he's gonna be like a Stone Cold Steve Austin, but you get my drift where you're supposed to dislike him, but he does so much disliking that you want to see more of Dijak. Interesting character development from Dijak. I really love it. Yes, and then yes, yes. What's up, man? Everything. Man, you're doing NXT tonight. No, we got the Knicks game. We got and Terrence is going to the Performance Center tonight for spring breaking, so we cannot separate. I got the basketball playoff. I would love to do NXT, but don't have anyone to cover it. I wish I had someone to do the watch along to do it. There you go, Dave Allen. Yes, we mentioned about that. Reggie would not be hit. We mentioned that as soon as I opened this up in the program. I said breaking news, but I'll repeat it again. Yes, and we'll say it together here. Yes, Reggie, formerly known, the Scripps, formerly known as Reggie, will not be re-signed. They're going to let his contract expire at the end of June, and then he'll just go his own way. Thank you for your years in the WWE. You could explore free agency. You could explore work on the independent scene. You want to work for Tony Khan, you can. No hard feelings. They're really, not for nothing, Scripps kind of fell under his potential. He is a gifted, talented wrestler. I've seen him with the acrobatics, with his in-ring ability. Doesn't bother. He's not a bad person, wrestler-wise, moves-wise. Promo, it's okay, but I think when he put that stupid, silly mask, hurted him. And being part of that 24/7 division hurted him. He needs, and I think it's best for him to have that clean break. And yeah, I'll get back to the other two comments, guys. I'm gonna jump this one that came in fresh about Reggie. Yeah, the TNA X division, beautiful. David, I love how you're thinking right now. I love how you're thinking right now because you put him in there and put him in that X division with his acrobatic ability and the way the X division. When you have to go for the opportunity to win the King of the Mountain match, we have to get that X and put him in there in those spots. I think Reggie will do phenomenal work there. I think he will do great work in NXT and TNA personally, and I think that style will fit him. I think he'll get over there. He'll get over. And let me go. There you go. Dijak. Dijak is Judgment Day. Interesting. Right now, David, let me ask this question. Did you notice? Did you see the vignettes yesterday? They're kind of teasing Judgment Day to be disbanded or dissension. Like that group looks like they're going to go through some hard splits. Where you saw JD McDonough and Damian Priest getting a little testy, or almost cost in that 6-man tag that match with JD back and forth. JD saying, "Oh, I feel like I'm underappreciative," or talking a little bit back to Damian. Also with Dominic Mysterio. If you looked at the vignettes when they had the backstage promo, you saw him talking to Liv coming out of the room, one coming out of the room, and then the other one about a minute later coming from the same little locker room. So they're throwing dissensions and nuggets out there, guys. So I don't know if Dijak in Judgment Day will work. I can see a little more in Final Testament, but I kind of want to see Dijak do his own thing because I don't want him to come back to the main roster and everyone gets PTSD about retribution. I kind of want Dijak to go out there and do his thing, be that badass out there personally before we want to throw him in a group because, again, I don't want those retribution vibes. I think this is going to, I'll be honest with you, it's going to be his last opportunity on the main roster. If not, then after that, if he doesn't stick or doesn't go over, if he does, and they don't want him back in NXT or think they don't have room for NXT, he might be done with the company. And I wouldn't want to see Dijak be done with the company. I think he actually has something to give more. I totally have done a 180 on Dijak personally. This is not a release. We just want to see the new wrestling world to reinvent like Drew. Yeah, he could be called back. He could be absolutely. He could be they ask him exploit, be a free agent. Check it out. Maybe you'll find a gimmick or see something different out there in the independent scene. And hey, if we could use him right back, I could see him returning back with OTM, or just come back in a group. And let me ask this question, guys, with Reggie and so forth. Isn't it time? And Reggie looks like a manager, but isn't it time for WWE to start building managers also? Where it helps people cut promos, especially when you have a lot of young athletic from the collegiate area athletes, and some of them might not be good enough on the mic to express themselves or they need time. That's the last thing to promo work. You have a manager. It was okay back in the 80s when you had Bobby Heenan and Mr. Fuji, Jimmy Hart. You had Classic Freddie Blassie. You had managers even in the WCW days. Colonel Parker. You had Shelly Martel. Again, you have different managers. It's okay for wrestlers to have managers so they could be the mouthpiece. I say this, and I'm going to stick with it, and I say it time and time again. I think what hurted Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey to be a compelling tag team, they didn't have a mouthpiece. If they would have had a mouthpiece, a manager, and everyone says Paul Heyman because he's the only manager there, but if you would have developed a manager for the ladies, I think it might have worked. Again, case in point, Robert Stone. Robert Stone should be a manager. I know he's doing producing job for NXT now. He's going to produce some matches. Great for him. He's been on the independent circuit. A guy who looks the part. He reminds me of Harvey Whippleton. If he looks, he looks like that heel manager that you want the babyface to get his hands on. When he'll take a quick beat. Knows how to take a bump. They need to build managers to speak for some of these folks, some of these men and women, so they become a little more compelling, more interesting, and maybe some of these wrestlers don't get released. We'll see on that there how they go. JD McDonough and Finn and Sheamus, a.k.a. the Irish Stable, man, that's another one. I mean, again, Finn Balor, JD McDonough coming from the NXT UK brand. Again, phenomenal job. Again, NXT taking NXT UK. The development and the time investment that Triple H had there in creative makes sense. That's why I'm a big fan of Triple H's vision of having NXT globalized. He wants to do it, and we've seen this here maybe with Rosie Ogawa, with Marigold. We know that Julia is coming to the WWE, to the NXT brand. Also part of the agreement or handshake agreement between Rosie and Triple H Creative. Io Sky as well as Carrie Sane will go to Marigold, wrestle a couple matches there, back and forth with the talent. We'll love that to be a olive branch or a branch of the WWE with NXT Japan. We know that the Japanese market have some great wrestlers that come out of there. We have Stardom, we have All Japan, we have New Japan. There's so many other wrestling companies in Japan where we see all these stars be developed. Opportunities for these women in NXT under the WWE umbrella, get in there and you bring in now a talent. Talk about NXT Europe. You have folks that could be general managers in for an NXT Europe if they want to rebrand that or bring that up back to life. You have now Nick Aldis. You have a William Regal. You have folks that could be general manager, a face, a authority figure in that region to develop that. Just think of that. And then they do an NXT Latin America or Mexico. I understand that they have, work with Conan and AAA wrestling. Maybe Rey Mysterio could be an ambassador if he's looking to hang up the wrestling career in a few years from now. NXT Mexico. Then you really could do is a globalized Heritage Cup, NXT brand Heritage Cup, and then you really bring your best tournaments from all different NXTs around the world for that one global. And you talk about taking away from the G1. From the G1 in New Japan, you have your own NXT Global Cup. You globalize this. That's what the TKO and Endeavor with the UFC is doing. UFC has many different UFC compounds in different part of the world now. They just opened one performance center in Mexico. So that's a vision that Triple H had before the UFC adopted it and going full force. So it makes me think that they're going to put money behind Triple H idea. And I think they're just getting everything acclimated now. This is going to be second year or full year before the full merger, and we're about 6 to 8 months with no Vince McMahon fully out of the whole situation, where he has no technicals, he has no puppets in the company. It looks like they closed every avenue, every door that has any communication with Vince McMahon. Although people could disagree, agree. Pritchard is still there and yada yada, but you could see that it's really tight. Looks like everyone says, looks like Paul Levesque creative going forward. Maybe now they go forward with those projects that were put on a back burner for Triple H because of the Vince McMahon's either scandal or Vince McMahon's self-veto. Maybe they bring back all those things and we could really have that situation. And I'm loving it that we're not even speaking about Pete Dunne, the bruiserweight. Look, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bates, Ilya Dragunov, and Walter, a.k.a. Gunther. That's the 4 pillars of UK wrestling, at least in the mid part in the pandemic. Those are the 4 pillars, and now they're on Raw. Monday Night Raw going to Netflix. Remember, now that it's going to Netflix, they're now reaching the world. And you know that Netflix is a globalized app that everyone subscribe. Monday Night Raw now is going to get more eyeballs, especially when you have heavy United Kingdom representation there from that part of the world. They're going to tune in at their convenience. When it's their time for wrestling, whenever they can in that region, they're going to watch it. And they're going to put it on. They're going to get, now Europe is going to get a big eyeball to watch the WWE even more. They want the WWE. It shows by the premium live, by all the live events that are happening. Recently they just had some house shows, and there were over 15,000 plus at packed that look like premium live events. So there is WWE knows that there's a starving market in the UK, and they just continue to excel with the NXT UK call-ups. I have no issues with them because all these wrestlers provide a entertainment value. Pretty deadly, folks. Pretty deadly, very entertaining. Their whole shtick is they do whatever it takes to win. They look like those slippering rascals, like Chip and Dale type of to win. That shows phenomenal job on them as a tag team where you don't like, damn, I can't believe they won that. Pretty Deadly's there's a comedic act, but there's a comedic act that gets over with the crowd, with their antics, their humor, their yes boy humor is just There, you got to see their work in NXT. Phenomenal with Kate Wilson and Elton Prince. Do phenomenal work there. Yeah. I'll get to you, Johnny Beans, with your comment right now. Da Vinci is drafted to SmackDown. That one interests me. That one interests me, James. Because to see Vinci separate from Imperium, I kind of want to know what happened. He's a founding member of Imperium for Vinci. To see him on his own, kind of makes me want to know what's going on with Vinci. He got over on his own in NXT when he got repackaged. He came back like a model, taking pictures, like kind of like the male version of Tiffany Stratton. When he returned, changed his name from Fabian Eichner to Giovanni Vinci. And he got over. He could go. He had some moonsaults, high flyer, and then he kind of, to me personally, I think got watered down once he reached Imperium. When they brought him up to the main roster, kind of watered him down a little bit. I don't know why they put restrictions or training wheels on him, because they let him loose in NXT, which got him called up like out of nowhere to Imperium, and that's in that Triple H's first SummerSlam. So there we go. Let's go to Johnny Beans there. Hikaleo's contract has come to an end in May from New Japan. Tomatanga, the brother, debuts in SummerSlam. Hey, there's talked about that. You could do Bloodline where it has roots. Now you could bring in the Tongan family. Haku, he's Tongan. He's not Samoan. He's Tongan. And you also have the Tongan twins that if the WWE wants to sign them from WOW, Women of Wrestling, that's another female tag team group that they could bring there and add to this storyline, where you have a Samoan and Tongan war after the Bloodline, after they have their family civil war. So there's, like you said, there's layers. There's like a croissant with a lot of layers, buttery flavored layers of storyline if the WWE approaches it correctly. So I love to see that there. James says, yeah, UK version of Edge and Christian. Absolutely, James. Absolutely. You hit it. You hit that right on the head. Perfect comment on that one with that. Can they bring that character for Vinci? Maybe they can, but which one? The model type of deal? Because when he came out, I remember one time, I'll make a quick story. I see you, Jacoby Sammy. We'll get to you right this second. When Giovanni Vinci came out, and he came out with that model, and that's at the time that Maximum Monos was debuting, and they were getting TV time in the WWE before Vince got accused and all that. I remember I told Vinci, I can see you getting called up to the Maximum Male Models pretty soon. Boy, that guy looked at me, because I when I go to NXT, when I used to go, I always had the second roll up, right when the wrestlers go up the ring, and you see me there. If you look at the UFC Air Network back in the old days, not to put myself over, but just wanted to give you a quick story. He looked at me with a look. If looks could kill, he was like, yo, don't you even think about me going to be a Maximum Model. But that might work. That might work. All right, so we got Jacoby Sam says, sup, what's going on? Backlash this Saturday. What's going to happen to KO and Randy? They're going to get destroyed by the Samoan Wolf. The Samoan Werewolf. Hey, how about Reggie joins First Class? Oh, talk to me, Jacoby Sam. Now you're cooking with some good gasoline there, because Rich Swann, Reggie, put that in there to my goodness. Yeah, I like to see that there. That's a good tag team. Or even a introductory battle for Reggie into TNA. I mean, that would be nice to see there. What's just one thing, I don't want him to go immediately with a reunion or get alongside of Dana Brooks, Ash by Elegance. Don't revisit that. They could say hello. They could meet. Have that interaction, so the TNA crowd or those that are crossover get that nostalgic pop. But I don't need them working together in a team. Leave that in the past. Let him do his own thing in TNA, and let her do her own thing. Because people are going to get 24/7 vibes if they see those two back together. That's just my opinion. Yeah, you remember when people were saying that about Giovanni Vinci becoming a Maximum Male Model. Yeah. What would you do with? Oh, that's simple with OTM. OTM has, listen, OTM, they're going to be a tag team force. They're going to be a force. Bronco Lima, Lucius Prince, they need to be led by Jada Parker. Let Jada continue let her still wrestle. Let her capture North American title, women's title, world title, because she's a star. She's got the it factor. I remember telling Terrence when we went to the house show last year, and she came out on one of the house shows, one of her first matches, and her mannerisms. I remember telling Terrence, I remember telling my wife, she's got the it factor. She knew how to conduct herself as a heel. She knew how to get the crowd to turn, and she didn't even get physical. Just her introduction into the ring, I said, yeah, this girl got it. And I think Jada Parker, I think with the storyline, they kick out Reggie, they move him out. They losing too many matches. He's a bunch of bad luck. He does some sleazy stuff, and they just remove him. Maybe they asked D'Angelo for a favor. I don't know. They just remove him out, and he writes off TV for OTM. Top Dollar says he wants Cameron Grimes in first class because he could bring the money gimmick to TNA. Yes. What hurt? And I love, and I wanted, and I kept saying, I don't want to sound like I love everyone. Oh, you say you love everyone from TNA from NXT, but in the truth, be honest with you, I don't think there's, other than Andre Chase and Chase U, I'm gonna be totally honest, I'm not a big fan of them. And for a reason, they waved that flag in my face. They didn't have consideration, yada yada. Not a big fan of the Andre Chase U thing, but everything other all the acts in NXT, I enjoy all of them. I love all of them because they're like, to me, watching them and have them perform week after week in front of me, I felt like they're like family. They're, I'm here to cheer you on. I'm your fan. You're growing in front of me. I'm watching you perform. It's like I'm not saying I'm their parent, but I'm like a parent going to watch a little kid in Little League play. And you see him play in Little League. You see him first play T-ball. Then he goes to the youth, the under 8s. And then they go to Little League. Then they go to the Class A. And then when they're about to Triple A base, and then they go to the big leagues. And when you go to the big leagues, you feel like so proud because you watch them from T-ball go into Little League, into high school baseball, college, and now they go into the pros. That's how I feel with all the wrestlers in NXT. That's why I say, man, I really enjoy them, and I want to put them over so much. My point is with Cameron Grimes, excellent, nice kid, man. He's such a nice kid with the fans. Not a bone of negative. Whenever the cameras are off, when they're in commercial break, they come and they go around. And Cameron Grimes was one that always greets people, say hello, and then get right back into when the camera the TV operator says we're going back live. He boom and like Indy Hartwell. Cameron Grimes, man, I hope he really gets over. And it sucks that the money gimmick, Corbin, they gave that broke gimmick to Corbin. Personally, the way I said it months or about a year, remember when JBL returned and was managing Corbin? That should have been for Grimes. JBL should have taken Grimes under his tutelage or even had them as a tag team. And hey, who knew that Braun and the Wolf Dogs and Corbin were going to work like that? I kind of wanted to see was Cameron Grimes and Corbin under JBL's tutelage to go and be a money and power type of deal. It didn't work, but hopefully Grimes reinvents himself with that money gimmick in TNA, and they just take off with Top Dollar. Personally, I think Grimes will work with Top Dollar, and Top Dollar, AJ Francis doing phenomenal work in the independent scene. I got to give him his flowers. One of the best things for him is leaving WWE, getting released. I think WWE did not know how to use the big guy. I said it time and time again. Hopefully one of these days, AJ Francis will give me an opportunity to interview him, and I will tell him that. I said, he follows me on Twitter. We interact on Twitter. I extended the invitation. AJ hasn't accepted it, but I would love for him to come and have give me 20 minutes, man, just to have a conversation on the podcast. We'd love to have AJ Francis on. I thought that was Ash and Reggie as the Golden. Oh, my God, James. You're too much. Let's see here. I would like to see Jada Parker add someone to replace Reggie. Adam Mud is good with two guys. two guys and a girl, the threesome. I think they're powerful enough. They don't, maybe maybe. I don't want to add another female because Metaphor. I know Metaphor is 4, and they're doing phenomenal work as well. I kind of want to see them leave one more. Just leave it at 3. I'll be okay with 3. But hey, you never know who they could add. Even those guys from NXT Level Up debut tonight. Yes. Oh, Tyree and Chadwick and Nagu. Chadwick and Nagu, another kid. Chadwick. Whenever we have to go into the performance center and we got to get scanned, of course, metal detectors. Just another inside behind the curtain, like they peek. They put some of the kids from Level Up before they have their first matches, really much when they're training, to be security. And they're out there, and I always used to have conversation with Chadwick. I always try to pronounce his name, and he says, "Man, thank you, I appreciate it." And with him, the same thing with Bronco Lima. Bronco Lima used to always be the security guard that let us in. Whenever we go to NXT with the wand, with the wand, check us out. Always says hello, very cordial to my wife. I'm very nice and very cool. These kids, this is, again, if you have not gone to an NXT and you're outside of Orlando, Florida, and you're going to visit Mickey Mouse for a week, take a day on a Tuesday. Don't do anything. Don't visit the parks. Don't visit Universal Studios. Don't visit SeaWorld. Don't visit Disney World. Take that one Tuesday. Sign up. Register. It doesn't cost you anything. You're just going to have to pay the gas to get to the NXT, to the parking lot. Go to NXT. Put yourself on the registry list on a Tuesday night. Check out NXT in Orlando, Florida. You're going to enjoy the NXT brand. I'm just telling you that. At least give it one opportunity live. You get to see wrestlers, or even more better. If you're on a weekend and you come and you check out this on e-tickets. Whenever they have live events for their house shows all across the state of Florida, find a city that you might be near in, and go check it out. Live event. You pay a ticket. Your seat is right there. You drive your own car, and then you get to see and meet and greet the wrestlers. They even have better. Actually, the house shows are even better. They give you more time. They'll take time out to talk to you, take pictures, interact, have a conversation. Find out how they're doing, and that's why that's why I'm enamored with them, because these people are not stuck up. And I'm not saying that the main roster wrestlers are stuck up. They just got to go to city to city. They got no time. They got to keep it moving. They don't have time for the meet and greet to have that conversation with the wrestlers. And when you see them in the airport, they just want to go home. They're tired. They're bruised. I get it. But NXT, if you want that personal interaction with wrestlers, NXT is the place. You get to see them, male and female. It says we could see WWE TNA swapping talent. I mean, Joe Henry's over, Jacoby. Joe Henry is over. I mean, if you see me when I mentioned that last Slammiversary when he was teaming up with Yoya, when they were Yoya, I was telling you Joe Henry's cheesy gimmick, but Joe Henry is over, and he's continued to get over. Joe Henry, that gimmick is just so cheesy, but it's so good. Tasha Steele. She was in. Here's the problem with Tasha Steele. Tasha Steele was part of the NXT brand. Tasha Steele, they wanted her to be a referee. Tasha Steele said, "No, I am more than a referee. I am a talent." That's why she and NXT party ways, because they wanted her to be a referee, like Daphne. The way Daphne is a referee, like Jessica Carr. Jessica Carr, the referee, she was trained by 3D Academy, by Devon and Bubba Ray, and now she's an official. They wanted that with Tasha Steele. Tasha Steele had no interest in being an official. She wanted to be a performer, which Tasha Steele could go. I don't blame her. She banked on herself. I don't know if Tasha Steele will want to return unless she's super over, and I don't think she's at that level to get super over where she's on WWE's radar. With the plethora of women talent that NXT has, Tasha Steele will get lost in the shuffle because you got Jakara Jackson. I'm not comparing them. I wanted my Boricua badass to be in the WWE, of course. I definitely will love that. Who doesn't want a fellow Boricua in there to cheer next to Selena and our world champion Damian Priest, of course. But I don't think to me, they seem that she's kind of redundant. What they have in and I could see a pass on. I could see WWE passing on her, but man, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to see Tasha Steele, but I don't know. I think they'll say that there are a dime a dozen Tasha Steeles in NXT, especially when you see some of the other younger women coming up from the from their collegiate, from the NFL, NIL that they have. My goodness. BX, what I find interesting last night was WT's Booker T as a manager. Well, Booker T, I'm glad you mentioned that, James. Booker T in the reality of wrestling again, and Booker T reality of wrestling on YouTube. Yo, that's phenomenal. I went into a rabbit hole looking at some of the old ones, seeing when a Big Body Hobby went down there with Roxanne went back in December, Trick Williams in the summer. Just looking at those videos and watching their show leading up to those matches, and all the other kids out there in Houston, Texas. I became a big fan of reality of wrestling. I just wish I had enough time in the day with all the different live streams that I do with the watch-alongs to really get into the nuts and bolts of reality of wrestling and even review it. That's how much I really enjoy. And OVW, again, I want to give them a shout out. I really like OVW a lot, not because they were on Netflix. I watched their pay-per-view. There are a couple the last not this one that passed, the other pay-per-view they had there, and OVW with Al Snow and all Layla Gray, they just Miss Nieves, Tiffany Nieves, they just do phenomenal work. Mr. Pectoral, they all do freaking great work. Cash flow, and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan on those independent wrestling. I prefer watching. You know what? I would watch an OVW or reality wrestling card or pay per view before I actually sit and enjoy an All Elite Wrestling 6 to 7 hour shit show. Seriously, I it's just so disorganized. Well, I'm too long. These guys, these other shows, these pay-per-views, I will plunk the $23 or $27, $29 to watch those pay-per-views with a smile, because they really entertain, even though lower production, whatever the case is. But I respect and I really like those. And I tell you, reality wrestling. So back to Booker T. Why I went down that rabbit hole was Booker T teasing as being a manager, bringing someone out in reality of wrestling, being now instead of an owner or owner of the company, kind of like what we're seeing in All Elite Wrestling. Now he's becoming a manager, a character in the reality of wrestling, where and could he want to do that in the WWE? Why not? Remember, we just said a couple minutes ago, WWE needs to find their new crops of managers. He will be a great person for a managerial role. Who could speak on the microphone. He could come up with some crazy stuff. He can still take some minor bumps. You don't want him in a wrestling match, and that's why I'm kind of down on what's going on with my man MVP. And you don't have to put MVP always with another African American wrestler. You could try to have him when he's trying to guide some young person, another young talent, and get him going, or even the women, where he's trying to, hey, we're gonna, Don King type of deal with MVP. Again, I don't want him to think we're stereotyping MVP either. No stereotyping whatsoever. But we want to have that where his character is kind of a believable, a believable way. He's, he wants to win at all costs. He's gonna have his team. He has the cane and all that, the walking stick, the cane, and do whatever it takes to win. MVP, use him. Booker T. Also, love to see him as a manager. Jada Parker got potential. Even Booker T speaks highly of her. Even NXT Reality of Wrestling is working relationship. Yeah, they have a big working relationship, because that's where Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. It's like, for instance, let's say today I say I want to be a wrestler today. I'm not gonna go into NXT, even if they try me out, and I'm not gonna make NXT. No way, with no wrestling experience. They're going to want me to go to a wrestling school. Although NXT is a wrestling developmental, but they're not going to teach me the basics bumps. They want you to know how to do the basic bumps, because they're going to take you to another level. They're going to get you going. So they send you to reality of wrestling. They send you to a 3D Academy. If you're in Orlando, Florida, if you're in the Central Florida area, for Booker Devon and Bubba's school. They'll send you to Tampa to the dungeon in Natalia. They'll tell you find these reputable wrestling schools. When you get hours of bumps, when your wrestling school instructor, I'll let them know when we have a tryout and you try out in NXT. That's how I believe how the system works. And then some of these schools like Natalia School, they say I got a hardworking student needs to try out. They'll give you a tryout, and then WWE, whenever performer sees you, they'll extend your contract. Yeah, they're doing more recruiting in the international world. Not the NIL and etc. The Next Gen show. The Next Gen show. They've got some great wrestlers. I think phenomenal job in that Next Gen show. I haven't watched a bit of it because again, so much content with NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs. I wish I could just see everything. I wish I had my eyes everywhere. Booker T managed Drew, and that was teased on Raw. But let's see how those. Ooh, you know what? Wouldn't mind Teddy Long being back as general manager. Galdi shows him the ropes. That'd be interesting. I don't know if Teddy Long has the energy though. I don't know if Teddy Long has the energy that wants to be back the full grind. I know he likes the casual appearance. Doing besides blocking people on Twitter. But I don't know if he has the energy to want to travel and be part of the show. They also tease Vicky Guerrero. Remember, Vicky Guerrero's a free agent, but she's got so much drama going on with her children that I don't know. I guess she became toxic, where there was interesting of her coming back and being part of Ray and Dominic. Little bit of a juicy drama there, but she has some issue with her daughter, with the stepdad, and something. It was just it was ugly. It was ugly where now she's toxic. I don't think a wrestling company, you saw All Elite didn't even resign her. They just let the contract expire and let it be. And for Vicky Guerrero, I hope the rumors are fake. What I'm repeating is nonsense. But there's too many people reported that. So Natalia managed that new girl. She's Carmen Petrovich. Yeah, Carmen's got something there. I think they have something with Carmen Petrovich. I mean, she's beautiful. I'm gonna be honest with you. I find Carmen Petrovich very beautiful. But I gotta see some more in ring with her. I kind of would like her to get rid of the sword gimmick. I would love her to get rid of that sword gimmick for Carmen. Carmen, get rid of the sword gimmick. Get it. Use your martial arts skill. I'll tell you one thing, and I hate to say this is a hot take, and I'm sorry, Terrence, but I think Carmen Petrovich is more skillful than Nikita Lyons. I hate to say that, but Carmen is more skilled than Nikita Lyons right now with the karate, and they have too many martial arts gimmicks right now in TNA. They don't have to change it. Why not? There's so many, and in the UFC, there's so many grapplers, strikers. There's a lot of wrestlers, jiu-jitsuists. That in the UFC, they have almost a lot of fighters with the same style. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to set yourself apart with your promo and character development. And I haven't seen it, from Nikita Lyons, which I know she's hurt right now, but when she returns, she needs some major character development with the crowd. She just got to show up, and the crowd goes ooh and ah. Of course, rightfully so. She's not bad looking on the eyes. But I need something where you're going to gravitate those that want to ridicule you or attack you. I need her with her promo and her ability to grab me into Nikita. She came in with the kicking, the punching, the MMA fights, but then didn't really move. The one thing that was oh and ah, when she gets you with the split and pin you with that split, that was the ooh and ah part. That was the wow factor on her. I need something a little more from Nikita Lyons personally, because Carmen has a little bit one up on there. What's going on, Jeff? It's good to see you. Can we see Shayna Baszler also train Ola Vice as her coach going forward? Still could wrestle, though. No, I think Shayna, that's a one-off with Shayna Baszler. Remember, Valerie Lola Vice comes from the world of MMA. She's from Bellator. She has a nasty she has about 5 knockouts in her career. She's a badass. Don't get her little statue fool you. The way she's character developing in WWE and NXT with Lola Vice becoming, this sultry, sexy assassin. Lola Vice from Latina. She really is someone you don't want to see in a fight, in an octagon fight, because yeah, she's that type. Watch her videos, follow it. Watch her Bellator fights. But at least she's got like 7 Bellator or UFC fights, or altogether MMA fights in her career. She's a real deal. She could take a good punch too. Lexi King can have a female valet by her side. Well, Lexi King will be having one. Emily Diaz. Emily Diaz is his girlfriend, real life fiance. I saw her wrestle Lola Vice, by the way, 2 Saturdays ago on a house show in Orlando. Remember the name, Emily Diaz. The only thing she has to change is her little bit of her gimmick, the race car gimmick. Give me a little bit of Body Holly, Crash Holly type with the race car gimmick, whatever. But she's another one. For her first match against Lola Vice, for me seeing her, and I saw that with Jada Parker, this girl, they were going fast, they were going quick, they were moving in the ring, they were hard hitting. I was very impressed with Emily. Emily is impressive. I cannot wait when they beat her on Level Up and on NXT, because she's going to take off. She could be a valet for Lexi King. Emma Diaz, yes. Emma Diaz. I said Emily, but it's Emma Diaz. Emma Diaz, yes. I know I got the last name correct. I think the first name, she's good. I think she should be alongside of Lexi King, her valet, and where she wrestles, and they grow and they form a group. They protect each other and go forward, because I think when the time comes, and I hate to say it, I hope it doesn't come for months. I think Lexi King takes the title away from Trick Williams. I could see that. I could see that, absolutely. And it says here, what? Levesque King with JC Jane. Oh, Lexi King with JC Jane? No. I don't know what's going on with JC Jane. JC Jane, I'm going to give you my opinion of JC Jane. I thought her mannerisms, she's a great heel. Her mannerisms are perfect. Her in-ring is okay. She sometimes tends to do her matches kind of like a choreographed, repetitive, where her matches, the cannonball, the DX spot, this and that. There's nothing wrong with that, because, when it comes to JC Jane, but she doesn't translate as a singles competitor. She's a great tag team wrestler. She looks like she's a great, and I hope I'm wrong. And you don't know, you never took a bump. That's what everyone goes to immediately. That's the long hanging fruit. When you instead of listening to the constructive criticism or change my opinion, that's the first thing they throw. Oh, you never took a bump. You never wrestled. No, maybe I didn't, but I've been watching the product for over 40 years. It doesn't mean I'm a scout or professional, but I could tell you what got me watching for 40 years. And if I see that you're going to continue that, guess what? I'm not going to watch you. I could watch something different. But my point is, with JC Jane, I don't think her matches are boring. I think they're kind of repetitive. And you could say that with some of the performers, but she's just translated as a tag team. She does great. I think her and Gigi, that was a mistake. Breaking Toxic Attraction. I don't know if it was because of the maybe there's some real life heat that they didn't get along, whatever the case was. No Mandy to be a buffer. I don't know, or I never heard anything like that, but that was a mistake, whoever decided to split them, because they could have been right now getting drafted to Raw as a tag team, instead of Albert Fire and Isla Dawn before. That should have been Toxic Attraction, in my opinion, but I don't know what happened there. Let's see. Jordan says, can someone explain to me how in God's green earth Braun signs with SmackDown contract only to get drafted by? That's the fun part, Jordan. Braun Breaker, he was so dominant on SmackDown that it intrigued Pierce's eye to try to nab him from Raw. He said, I think that's where people or the IWC or the critics got upset and think that the SmackDown or Raw draft sucked because they expected that from every pick. Oh, I'm gonna swapping where chaos. And since they didn't have chaos, they had organized drafting with talent switching. They didn't like it. So I think if they would have had more kind of that, where if Jade would have ended up going to Raw and then this and that, I think they would have said, oh, this was interesting, in my opinion. But hey, what would if I had an opportunity to get Braun Breaker too, and he was available there, and I don't care if he just signed. I'm grabbing Braun. I thought it was fair. I thought it was fair game. He says, yeah, you see, we're talking about managers, but there are some valets in the back also. Yeah, we could. There's nothing wrong with the valets. I also think Andre Chase could be a valet. As much as I don't like Andre Chase, I don't like Chase U, but he serves a purpose to be a valet for Duke Hudson, even Duke. With Dia, I'm not a fan of them, but again, I understand, and I kind of turning. I say, hey, they don't bother me out there supporting Thea Hale, even for Osborne. Even when they come out for Osborne, it doesn't bother me. Out there for that support and managerial support, I like that. Also, we saw that with the catch, with the No Quarter Catch Club. Now, we all know that Drew Gulak is no longer with them. Right now, he's just written off TV until some further investigations to find out they're going to bring him back, not bring him back, release him. Whatever the case is, he's inactive right now. He's in no man's land. But Drew was kind of a manager, with them. So that's where Andre Chase is like a mentor. There is some of them, but they just got to have guys to run the stable, doing all the businesses. We need to find the next Heyman, because Heyman is not getting any younger. That's my point. We need to find those guys. So we'll see. That's why I'm happy with Sean. Sees it and is not ready, and it's not ready to be called up. Sean knows who they want to go up to the main roster, but right now that's not mostly all his call. When Triple H calls for a wrestler that he wants, or a style or a look, he's gonna get called up. Listen, once Lash Legend starts getting more and more frequently wrestle great, when if she keeps on putting the match she had with Lyra Valkyria. Remember when she filled in when Shotzi got hurt and she put on a hell of a match. Once Lash Legend continues to put on bangers of matches like that, that look will fit the main roster. Because and it's not a stereotypical thing. It's a look. When you have women like Bianca, Jade, and Naomi, Bailey, that stature, and you put a Lash Legend in there with Rhea Ripley, or even Nia Jax, Lash Legend at 6'3", that's something. That's game changer. She still needs more seasoning, and I think she could say herself too. She needs a little more time, but when she gets ready, Lash Legend is going to be another breakout star. I'm a little down, or I was a little down, as we say hello to Brandon. Brandon, how are you, Brandon? I am doing well. How are you? Good to see you this afternoon. Brandon's a huge baseball fan. Lyra Valkyria and Becky will be legendary. Again, on the main roster, absolutely, because they put on a hell of a show for us on NXT. They put on a hell of a show in NXT. I don't see why not. They will put a great show on the main roster. Now, I was a little down that reports are, but I'm not gonna say it's fully confirmed, although Fightful says it. But Fightful has gotten things wrong with Sean Ross Sapp, that Camille has signed with AEW. Until I don't see her debut in AEW, or I see the Con Man puts the graphic up, I'm gonna believe it. If I don't see the Tony Khan or the AEW account put the graphic of Camille All Elite, I'm still thinking she is not going to. I still think she's in NXT. I've said it before. I said it yesterday on my stream, and I'm going to say it here again. She moved from Tennessee, from a beautiful. She had farm, she had land, to lived in Claremont, which is about 30 minutes away from the Performance Center in Orlando, and it's in Central Florida, in Orlando, Florida. To move here, she got a nice house, but not. I mean, why move to Orlando? She could, if she was going to sign with All Elite Wrestling from Tennessee. She could drove. She could have drove to Jacksonville. It's not that far. It's almost from Orlando to Jacksonville. It's 2.5 hours. I believe from Tennessee it's 3 to 4. My point is, and they don't always in Jacksonville. They always, and she could always. She's gonna be in. She knows in. When NXT, she'll be in Performance Center, getting her bumps in, getting ready, yada yada. It makes me wonder why she moved to Claremont. Then I know Claremont is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not ugly. It's nice. It's developing. It's homes. You're not gonna have the farmland or the land. And she says she's a country girl. She's a Southern girl. You know, it's really not Southern living for her in Claremont. It's getting urban, or it's getting, suburbs of Orlando, but it's not country. So that's why I'm like, yo, since February. When have you known Tony Khan to hold a secret about signing someone? He blurs it out. He's the worst person to keep a secret. He'll tell everyone and say, hey, I signed so-and-so. He was giggling and Google Gagi that he signed Mercedes and announced that, named the whole pay-per-view, a whole Dynamite after Big Business after her. He can't keep a secret. And for him to sign Camille, I gotta see it. I could be wrong. And it's giving a lot of traction that she is with them, but until I don't see it, I'm not gonna believe it. Yeah. And then where are the Motor City Machine Guns at? Yeah, that's another one. We haven't seen a graphic, Jacoby. We haven't seen a graphic, but they're having their big pay-per-view coming up soon. Double or Nothing. Maybe that's when they'll wait up. Get some time away, get some time off, heal up, and we'll see you in Double or Nothing. Maybe that's where he'll sign. They'll show up. Remember, Double or Nothing, maybe we'll see a plethora of new talent. Maybe we'll see Camille there. We'll probably see, Motor City Machine Guns. But although Tony Khan does not know how to really bring out a surprise. Not ever since Cody Rhodes left the company, to bring in those wrestlers at the end with the surprises. They just don't know how to debut folks anymore. But Motor City Machine Guns, I mean, I know you guys would have loved to see them in the WWE. Personally, I would love them to go back to TNA. But if they were to show up in the WWE, there's a storyline with them. If you think about it, I've said it time again. They team them up with Logan Paul, make them a group. They're that one. Alex Shelley is half cousins. Is his cousin? That's his first cousin of Logan Paul and Jake Paul. Why not? Why not? Have them there and help them retain that United States title, and they make the introduction there. And Motor City Machine Guns on a Friday night. Let's go. But I don't know. I don't think they sign with the WWE guys. I'm just saying, fantasy booking. I'm fantasizing. Making believe, having the pencil. If the Motor City Machine Guns, there's a storyline. There's storylines there. They can help Logan Paul continue to hold their title. They could go out there, opening feud. If you want to do your opening feud or introduction feud with the Creed, although Creed look like they're going to turn heel, or Chad Gable, the Creed puts him in the Diamond Mine regimen to refocus him, and then it's the Creed and Gable going against the Guns and Logan Paul. You could get that going. There's so many different things there. There's storylines there that could be written. Unless the Machine Guns haven't signed yet. What's going with FTR, maybe? I don't know. FTR is not leaving All Elite Wrestling. FTR is not leaving. They talk about a group that doesn't like the 3 core letters WWE. They're not coming back to the WWE. That's one thing. I will be shocked to see FTR ever back in the WWE. I don't never. Even with Triple H running, never say never. But I don't. That's like that must mean that All Elite Wrestling is totally done. Like they're done. I think they stay there. No, I'm saying maybe they want to see what's going on with FTR and AEW. Oh, you mean storylines, booking wise? I mean, right now, the Bucks got the world title. Unless if FTR helps the Machine Guns come in and win the title in their debut. That's kind of low hanging fruit. But hey, that's not my company to run there the way they do and operate with All Elite Wrestling. They're interesting to see how they do that there. Interesting on that one. Yeah. So, all right, we're almost ready. I'm about to take this in a little more. Continue with the questions. As long as the questions are coming, I'll keep answering and we'll keep going. That's why they see on the contract if they want to see or not just saying okay they want to see what's on the contract or not. They're veterans between the Motor City Machine Guns. They're two veteran teams. They know they probably got a good 5 years left of good top notch wrestling. If maybe they want to see how the OCs are getting booked. The OCs, I believe, back right. They're back. They're still in NXT. They're gonna be tonight in NXT for the OCs. The OCs are having fun. I heard Carl Anderson had an interview on that same Busted Open as well. I like listening to Busted Open from time to time, although they piss me off from time to time as well. Carl Anderson had a nice, good interview. He talked really great about being in the NXT brand, how exciting it is, how great it is to work under Triple H's regime, total control, being himself. They're very happy. They don't seem disgruntled or frustrated, despite the fact that there haven't been too much TV time on the main roster. They love going down NXT to work with the young kids, being part of that brand. He said all the right things on TV on Busted Open, and also it's also recorded, so you get to see body language from Carl Anderson when he's having the interview. Not only on the audio platform, you get to see the body language. His body language was very enamored. He was enthusiastic when he said that, and you could even by the way he raised his eyebrows and the look in his eyes. So the Gallows are interesting. They're fine. They're happy with the direction they're in. They're getting paid, and then if they use them when they need them, they're there. They're professionals. So look, they could easily be far away from their families in Japan and being away and still making money, but away. That's why they took the deals in the WWE. Yeah, you find Brandon. No baseball tonight, Brandon. We got basketball. My friend. You realize the OCs have been drafted to SmackDown. Also, AJ Styles. So now Toma Tonga. Oh, Bullet Club reunion. But I don't think Toma Tonga right now is not gonna. I don't know if they embrace it. I'm pretty sure after Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, either if they don't get squashed or someone turns on one another, they're gonna have a SmackDown where they're gonna run into each other in the backstage segment. That's gonna be interesting with the Bullet Club thing, and maybe that's the next feud where Toma Tonga thinks that they have friends with them, and all of a sudden they just obliterate the OCs and AJ Styles. Maybe that's the next big feud. So that's gonna be interesting. And then they could throw promos. I thought we were too sweet. This was family for real. And then Toma Tonga says come out and say no, but this blood is more thicker than a stable. Yeah, I mean maybe that's a way of cutting a promo. I could see that. I could see where Toma Tonga references the Bullet Club, but this is bloodline. This is family. I mean, it'll be interesting. Can the Knicks win the NBA playoffs? Yes, they play tonight. If they win, they move on to the next round. We'll be coming on. So I'm not going to stay maybe for another 10 minutes because I got to come back on at 7. So, yeah, I'm going to have some dinner and be able to come back up, and brass a little bit, eat dinner. And, just came home from work, did 2 videos. So, absolutely. And then I like this here because I didn't know I was going to have a big audience. So, I really appreciate everybody listening this afternoon here on the Hail in the Ring podcast with the NXT invasion. So this was an NXT takeover, and we're talking about WWE and WWE NXT storyline, and I love it. I love it when we get to talk that. Yeah, I find that laughable. Hunter knows what he's doing. Yeah, everyone complains about Hunter. They said that felt like a throwaway show. Oh, they did a terrible and I'm funny because look, Gregor says they did a terrible job building for Backlash. And they're all for a pay-per-view. Meanwhile, AEW waits until the last Wednesday to put the card together to give you a pay-per-view card, and then they put like 20 matches and they don't complain about it. I mean, come on, throw the same heat. Yeah, you see with Bullet Club and WWE, which is crazy. Yeah, they actually mentioned the Bullet Club. Then Michael Cole did a couple of SmackDowns ago. When he was on SmackDown, I believe he mentioned the Bullet Club. He made a reference to it. Remember, also Cody Rhodes is part of that. He's also on SmackDown. We're interesting to see on that one for going forward in the future. And we'll see. We'll see because and now with the Backlash pay-per-view at 1:00 in the afternoon on Saturday, we'll have the watch along going on for that for 1:00 for the pay-per-view Backlash. I don't think no title changes are gonna happen. I'll be shocked. I don't see any title changes. This might be a filler card, like a glorified house show for France. I don't see anything major unless maybe what's going to make this card separate or wow factor if we get new faces like Jacob Fatu. If we get new faces or debut, then that makes it memorable away across. And but other than that, it's just going to be a filler. It's not. Listen, I tell you right now, on paper, it's not going to live. It's not living up to what Backlash Puerto Rico last year had. You had the thought of Bad Bunny, I mean, coming out and having a match, the build up. Then we did not know we were gonna get Carlito, Savio Vega come out. You know, the crowd made it electric. Although I think the French crowd is gonna be electric too. I think they're gonna be enamored for the card, but. And I don't believe we had any title changes either in Backlash Puerto Rico last year. But the momentum, the moment, the crowd brought that card alive. Hopefully the crowd in France does the same. And now we find Finn, Damien are not talking. What happened to JD? Yeah, they're breaking up. They're showing that dissension there. They're showing that dissension with the Judgment Day. Finn. I think that's the first feud. I think Finn will turn on Damien with JD, and they'll beat up on Damien, and Damien's gonna turn babyface. I think babyface Damien to run with the title for a bit. I think that's how that's gonna run. I think they're gonna turn babyface Damien and Rhea, and because they look like they have a good friendship. I don't think they'll stay together as a group, but there'll be like some dissension there. And Dominic is just gonna run off and do things with Liv. Yeah, there you go. Liv and Dominic. And Dominic, yeah. And Liv is just going to seduce Dominic Mysterio. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. And you know what? I'm for it. Let's see that. Now, I know after Backlash and they return back on Monday Night Raw, not only that the new draft wrestlers, the new drafted participants are going to be part of wherever their brand is supposed to be in. I'm interested to see the qualifying matches of the King of the Ring. I definitely want to see the qualifying matches of the King of the Ring. And before I get to the King of the Ring, let's get this comment. This one's hilarious. Dominic going full Eddie. I love it. Yes, he even had the Dirty Sanchez mustache that his father told him yesterday. That was funny. Yes, indeed. That's why Vicky Guerrero, if she wasn't in some hot heat or trouble, would have been perfect. You know, it would have been perfect that Vicky shows up and kind of helps Liv get into Dominic. I mean, so many. I mean, my goodness, so many great stuff there. If but yeah, too bad. But yes, with the King of the Ring tournament, it'd be interesting to see the qualifiers, the brackets, the matches. I think one of the matches we'll probably see is Sheamus versus Braun. They had that backstage cross interaction, like brush up or back and forth. That would have been that's an interesting one. I think we all know Gunther might win that King of the Ring tournament. Would love to see either Braun versus Gunther finals or Ilya. You know, either one of the other, Ilya and Braun or Braun. But here's the difference, though. I think the winner of the King of the Ring wins a world title shot. So I don't want to. I don't think Braun is going to win the King of the Ring immediately due to the fact for that reason. But due to the fact that he's not ready for a title shot, I don't want him to have a title shot yet. It was good to see Carmelo Hayes get that title shot as an introduction, but he lost. Now but you can always heat him up. Braun, they're booking him so unbeatable and unstoppable that I don't want to see. Personally, I wanted him to win the United States title, but if he goes, we'll see where he goes with that title. I don't think he's gonna take on Sami Zayn anytime soon. Justin Miller. Yeah, that will be perfect. And then there's also Queen of the Ring. The one thing I would love for the Queen of the Ring to resonate, the winner of the tournament gets to become the inaugural Intercontinental Champion, Women Intercontinental Champion. I would love for that to be. I would love that. We got a couple weeks. Hopefully, Triple H listens. I made videos on it. I would love to see the mid-card title for the women's be introduced with the Queen of the Ring tournament. The winner wins that, man. And then and again, we don't need a top heavy. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to see a top heavy. Give me the mid card. Give me the women in the mid cards. Give me the women like a Dakota Kai, Meacham, Chelsea Green. Women that are right now that are not in a tag. Well, Chelsea's in a tag team though. That's a tough one. Chelsea's in the tag team. Lyra Valkyria, you could put her in this tournament. Naomi, even though she's wrestling for the women's title, you could put a Naomi in this one. Maxine Dupree, Ivy Niles. And for a mid card right now, you keep Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, keep them tag teams. You could even, if you want to take Chelsea out of the tag team, out of the tournament, and put someone else who's not in it, who's not as a tag team, I'm good with that as well. You remember, don't forget, you could put a returning wrestler into the tournament that hasn't been there, like a Sonya Deville. She's returning any day now from the injury. Don't forget about her. Or she could be one of those that could affect the outcome of the match at the tournament, and if especially for the titles on the line. And let's say let's throw, for instance, I'm gonna throw it out there. Let's say it's Chelsea Green and she's in the finals against, I don't know, someone, and that one is the babyface. The babyface is about to go over, and out of nowhere, in a mask or a hood, or whatever, it's Sonya Deville interferes and causes Chelsea Green to win the title, and then that's the first feud, not for Chelsea but for whoever went to maybe a Lyra Valkyria versus Chelsea Green, and Sonya Deville interferes, and that's the first feud for Lyra. The major feud on the main roster. Those type of, if I was booking, I would like to see that. Kaden Carter. I don't know if they're gonna separate the ladies, James. I like it. Taker said about the Intercontinental title too. Yeah, me and Taker on there. Yeah, Elektra Lopez. There you go. Thank you, Gabriel. I forgot about Elektra. Even Antia. Salina Vega. You know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Salina Vega being the first inaugural women's Intercontinental champion. Why not? Have her win that. She's on one side of on the card, and she's about to take. She's a baby face about to win, and all of a sudden, boom! That's when you get the returning female that we haven't seen in a while. Again, this title does not have to be for Charlotte. It doesn't have to be for. They have two top heavy titles. They have the Raw heavyweight, the women's heavyweight champion, and the SmackDown women's champion. They're top heavy. Let these other ladies that doesn't really get the opportunity or are not viable to becoming world champion carry scene. Yeah, because I think they're losing the titles on Saturday. That's the only title change I think we're gonna see in France. I think Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair become champions, and they'll go from there. And I think they'll put prestige and honor and credibility on those. And I think Bianca loses when it's time for the ladies to lose. It'll be Bianca taking the pin, which is going to lead to Jade and Bianca feuding down the road, where that's when it will set up either for a WrestleMania Royal Rumble match between these two ladies or an Elimination Chamber. Kiana James, Kiana James is now part of Raw, part of the tournament. She could be there. She could be the inaugural. Just think about her. Imagine her coming on to Raw, and then because she didn't win any titles, only that the tag team titles on the NXT brand with Fallon Henley, but no singles title for Kiana. Just think of her becoming the inaugural champion, coming out of NXT. That says a lot. They really believe in her. Or even Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton. Don't forget Tiffany type for representing, SmackDown. You could see that because right now you see that she's having a holy alliance with Nia Jax. Her and Nia Jax are together. They're actually traveling buddies. They've hit it off, and I think that's going to resonate and translate in storyline wise until Tiffany Nia turns totally all bloodline, and then they'll go their separate ways. That's what I'm thinking. It'll be interesting to see where Tiffany go if it's Tiffany. I mean, a lot of people would love to see Tiffany the first woman intercontinental champion. I think a lot of folks will like it. I personally I like the Kiana James from New James. And think about that. Or even there's so many women deserving. I'm gonna be honest with you. Whoever they go with, and as long as it's not top heavy, I think those ladies deserve it. I could put a case for Selena Vega. I could put a case for Mitchum. Enough with the losing. She's there. She's wrestling. She could go. If you see her, again, I always use it as a reference point. Slammiversary 2022. Yeah, 2022 Slammiversary. Queen of the Mountain match. I mean, the spot that her and Diana Peraza and Chelsea did, my goodness, phenomenal. Where she moonsault from the top of the 60-foot ladder onto 2 tables. Mitchum could go. Mitchum is hardcore. She could wrestle. I mean, they're also holding her back, a little watered down in WWE from her NXT days. I would like to see Mitchum get that full go, wrestle development that she is able to go for it. I would like to see that where Mitchum. I could put a case for all these women. Kari Singh, winning that title. Elektra Lopez, that's the one person I can't see winning that title because she's not there yet. She's not there ready to resonate. But expect the unexpected when it comes to wrestling, right? You never know the unexpected. Their interesting pairing I thought was Nia and Tiffany, Owen and Yokozuna. Yeah, you know what? You're right. Maybe that's all. You know what? Triple H is a student of history, and he knows how to honor some of those historic gimmicks. That would be the equivalent. That would be the equivalent with Tiffany and Nia Jax friendship, Owen and Yokozuna. Yeah, very good one. Excellent on you. Excellent, Gabriel. Excellent on that one. That was a very good one. Didn't think about that one. Kudos. That's a good one. That's a very good one. Excellent. Excellent on that one. Yeah, Owen and Yoko. Yeah, Nia and Tiffy. That's there you go. All right. So with that said, guys, I'm gonna I'm gonna say good afternoon or good evening to everyone because I have to come back on in about 3.5 hours. Gonna have lunch, have dinner, and get ready for the basketball game. So hey, guys, you were great. So now this encouraged me to want to do more of these videos. Because we have a core, a group of folks. We could keep it going. Any more wrestling news it happens. Maybe I'll just do the spring break-in review tomorrow afternoon. Not this early. Maybe a little later in the afternoon because I could try to get Terrence on later in the evening, like around 6:37, so we can have him on, we can have a conversation, and we could talk about that. And before I go, we'll do James' last comment. Absolutely. Nia in the new bloodline. Yeah, she mentioned Nia. Looks like Nia will be there. I think we all want that. I think we all want to see Nia in the Dwayne Johnson, the Rock side of the bloodline, and we want to see Naomi on the Fatu side of the bloodline. If they're separating, I think that works. I think that's something that we want, and it'd be interesting to see which they say she's not retired. They say she retired, but they say she's still part of the active roster. Still not is Tamina Snuka, which is supposed to be on the Rock side of but she debuted the Twins, so. Interesting to see where if Tamina were to be part of this storyline, which line of the bloodline she'll be on. Layers, it's croissant, and you know what? Let's just enjoy it. Let the creative write the pencils, and let's just sit back and enjoy it, and then we'll see. Before we knock it, let's see how it unfolds. You know, that was perfect. What they did with Nia attacking Naomi. Yeah, that was perfect. Yes, it did. Planting seeds. They planted seeds, and I wasn't happy that Roman got defeated by Cody. But Roman again, I think, has a little bit of minor health issue. That's why we're not going to see him for a few months. They said he had a little bit of a. There's been a little not that the worst has returned, but there's been a little bit of an issue health wise. So I mean, I can see why they gave Cody the title and go forward if he's not going to be fully healthy. It would suck that he couldn't. He relinquishes and like, oh, you lost an opportunity in WrestleMania. Listen, I wanted him to break Hogan's record. I wanted him to break Hulk Hogan's record. I've been on there. I've been pounding like maybe, not like LaGreca, but I wanted him to pass Hogan's record on the longest title reigns in the modern day post WrestleMania history. But if his health wise, things happen for a reason. They pulled the trigger on Cody. Now let's support Cody 100%. I want Cody, and I need Cody to have a long title run. I don't want it to be something. I heard some folks, they already want him like, oh, when is he going? Who's going to lose it to? Why? He just got it. He's not even WrestleMania. It's just maybe a month now he's been champion, and you're already booking for a new champion. Why? What's the rush? Enjoy Cody Rhodes. We waited. You guys waited a whole year. We chased. You guys were on the edge of the seat for a whole year. A year plus. Let him have a long title reign. Let's enjoy it. Let's see. Now he does need an opponent. He does need some opponents to step up and make his title reign mean something. Because one thing that could hurt a champion is not having a strong opposition to challenge him, make him feel like you're gonna lose the title. It happened to Braun in NXT. No disrespect to Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy wasn't a great opponent for Braun to make his title reign feel special. Yeah, then you had Tyler Bates, but that was a unification, and it was two baby faces. You couldn't really build because it was just a one-time. We're gonna unify. We're gonna champion versus champion. We're gonna unify that. And then Braun didn't really have any other really good chase until Melo stepped up, and we know Melo defeated him. So really, Waller was a okay opponent, was a really good one for Braun, but Braun didn't. They didn't want to pull the trigger on Waller because they had thoughts of Waller joining the main roster. So they needed Braun to put something for him to work with. We'll see. That's what Cody Rhodes need. I don't want him to fall into that territory of Braun Breaker where everyone's like, yeah, he's champion, and they start yawning or getting upset. I loved Braun's run as a title, but I'm going to be honest with you, he didn't have a strong adversary. Yes. Okay, so speaking of Joe Gacy, where has he been lately? He's been running around. I think he's going to get repackaged, or he's cookies. He's still around. David, I'll see you too because I'm about to get off too, guys. Guys, I'm gonna say good night or good afternoon. We'll be on for basketball. I'll be back on for basketball. We will probably come back on tomorrow. Talk about NXT, spring break-in, and where they go from there. And of course, Friday Night SmackDown for all the wrestling, absolutely for the watch along, and then Backlash. So from me to you, may the sports be with you. Don't get pinned by life. Get over, and we'll see you later, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out.